Hello my friends. As you can see, I'm not in my usual spot for presenting these videos. And that's because this is not my typical type of video. You've seen that my YouTube channel is really a classroom. And my presentations are not about me or my menopause. They're about you and your menopause. And that's one of the reasons I present the tutorials in the same boring, bland environment every single week. I want you to focus on the lesson at hand rather than get distracted with all the other things that are not pertinent to the lesson. My tutorials are also not about other aspects of my life. I don't tell you about my house, my habits, my hair, my skincare, my vacations, my diet, my anything. I just teach you how to manage your menopause your way. But despite my focus on you, many of you ask a lot of questions that focus on me. So I'm going to honor your questions and answer the most common ones today. Now, don't expect anything startling or overly entertaining. I'm boring. You're probably going to wish I'd just given you yet another menopause lesson. I don't need to tell you about my personality because I'm really transparent. What you see is what you get. I am the same in real life as I am on YouTube. The big difference is that I'm much more animated in real life because I don't have to confine myself to what the camera frame can capture. But I'm going to answer the questions that I get most commonly. So, first question, where do you live? Now, I get this question a lot from women who have consultations with me, and that's because the times available for consultations are insanely crazy and early for many parts of the United States. And since the last time I mentioned where I lived was when I moved to Houston, Texas for a short period of time, most women assume that I still live there. I don't. I live in Nice, France on the French Riviera. And the reason I live here is because it's my favorite place on earth. As some of you know, I have lived on every continent except Antarctica. I have lived in Germany, Taiwan, Canada, Australia, France, Spain, Monaco, Malaysia, South Africa, and South America, Argentina. And I've lived in the United States. In the United States, I've lived in New Jersey, New Orleans, Texas, Washington State, California, and Hawaii. So I know the world quite well. I went to Houston in 2016 at the beginning of an impending divorce. The man whom I thought was Mr. Wonderful was really Mr. Horrible in disguise. So I fled to Houston from Buenos Aires simply because it was familiar and close. After getting the divorce and realizing that there was no way I could stay there, I decided to move to my favorite place and do my favorite thing, which is delivering this education to you. So I've lived here for a few years now, and I absolutely love it. Now, you might be wondering how in the world presenting menopause lessons on a YouTube channel that I've turned into a classroom, having consultations with menopausal women, and talking about menopause every chance I get could possibly be my favorite things to do. Well, my dears, that would be due to the fact that I am both an introvert and a workaholic. Nothing makes me happier than total silence while I contemplate dilemmas, nurture ideas, learn new things, and create an education for you that is like no other. I can work for days on end, smiling all the while. Weekends mean nothing to me. Holidays mean nothing to me. I just work straight through them, happy to avoid all that chaos that comes with them. I'm certainly not antisocial, and I love doing things with my friends. It's just that work energy is plentiful for me, while social energy isn't. And if I do too much social stuff, I feel like I need a transfusion. I am all about efficiency, order, and momentum. You see, I was born in Germany to a military family, and I became a surgeon. I've got the whole order and protocol thing in my DNA. So every aspect of my life is extremely organized. Everything has a home. Everything is organized by alphabet or color or category or something. I never lose anything. I always know precisely where everything is located. And I'm always ahead on everything. This includes the videos that I make for you. I spend months researching for a video YouTube unit. Even though it's all just review for me, I read all of the medical literature on it, every study, every review, every editorial, every commentary, and then I read multiple books on it, both textbooks and non-textbooks. And then I mastermind the precise order of the tutorials. I cannot tell you how much I agonize over the order. The order is the most critical feature of your ability to learn the material. That's why I'm always telling you and begging you to watch my videos in order, starting with video number 1. Then I create all the videos in the entire unit. After that, I make all the props for the entire unit. Next, I prepare the unit for shooting in terms of providing accompanying documents. And finally, I shoot the whole unit. Right now, on June 28th, 2022, which is the day that this video is airing, I have already shot all the videos through April 8th, 2025. So I am a true workaholic. But enough about my workaholism. What's next? Women ask a lot of questions about my self-care. These include questions about my hair, skin, arms, and diet. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect so many questions about my self-care. I can't imagine asking someone else about her self-care. In my mind, we're all so different that it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. I assume that she's doing what's best for her, and I think it's my job to discover what's best for me. Of course, that's what I teach you about your menopause management too. But alas, I am in the minority. It turns out that most women are very curious about what other women are doing. But you see, this is where my introversion dictates my behavior. In any case, since I get so many questions about these things, I'll tell you about them. I certainly don't have any secrets, and I believe that people who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. So, when it comes to my hair, I am on the hair neglect plan. I don't color my hair. I don't straighten or curl my hair. I don't even brush my hair. That's impossible. I brush my hair by putting a little leave-in conditioner in my palm, rubbing my hands together, and stroking my hair. This is brushing my hair. That's it. I am a hairdresser's nightmare. This is my real hair. And I am just starting to get some really white hairs. Finally, at the age of 63, recently I found my first really long white hair, and I just wish I'd get more of them more quickly. I love white hair. But what I really want is a full head of silver white hair. I just think it's so beautiful. See how weird I am? Now, another thing that engenders a lot of questions is my skin. And most are inquiries about my skincare regimen. And once again, I hate to disappoint you, but I really don't have a skincare regimen. Ladies, I'm a gynecologist, not a cosmetologist. I don't know anything about skin products or makeup. I guess I could know if I cared enough to know about them, but I don't. I just wash my face in the shower after my daily workout, and I do use a facial soap product, but not a particular one. I couldn't even tell you what the name of my product was that I used this morning. For the most part, it just has to be face soap. Then, when I get out of the shower, I put Vaseline or something similar on my face. I can't find Vaseline here in France, so I just use this instead. It feels like Vaseline, and that's all that matters to me. I do not have a bunch of expensive potions or procedures that I employ for my skin care. Don't even know what exists out there. Okay, I guess this brings us to the next common questions, which are about my vegan diet. Okay, I would say this. I am not a conformist. Nothing I do has anything at all with what anyone else is doing. I never follow fads. Never in my life have I participated in any faddish behavior. Quite the opposite. I think of fads as herd mentality with nobody thinking for themselves. I tend to do precisely the opposite of what everybody else is doing. I always have, and I always will. The things that most people do make absolutely no sense to me. I cannot, for the life of me, understand why everybody would want to wear stiff, ugly blue jeans, or why everybody would want to practice intermittent fasting. I became a vegan way back before veganism was even a thing. As a nerd, I spent one of my summer vacations during college at Tulane Medical School doing research in the pharmacology department. I studied the blood-brain barrier with regard to various neurotransmitters. In any case, I was curious about how my body would react to a 100% plant-based diet. Now, I had no real reason to be curious about this. I didn't know anybody who ate a 100% plant-based diet. And there were no fads or trends pertaining to a 100% plant-based diet, nor did I have any digestive problems. And I didn't dislike meat or dairy either. I was just curious. My family had always been big meat eaters. We used to have king crab legs every Sunday for brunch, big piles of them. And we loved steak. I could eat an entire T-bone steak and have a second. So meat was a regular part of my life. But because of my curiosity, while I was doing research at Tulane that summer, I decided to try a vegan diet for just a few weeks. And voila, I discovered that my body loved it. Even though I wasn't even 20 years old yet, my body definitely had its preferences. And that is how and when I became a vegan. Okay, somewhat related to the questions about my diet are questions about my exercise. And more specifically, they come in the form of questions about my arms. I think I get more questions about my arms than anything else. You know, it's funny, I've never given any thought at all to my arms, except to noticing the fact that they are much, much, much too long. I have the longest arms on earth, which is why so many women imagine that I have some special arm workout. I don't. I'm just anatomically incorrect. My fingertips nearly reach my knees. And since my arms are so long, the tiny muscles that I do have appear bigger and better than they really are. You may already know that I have severe arthritis, and when I was diagnosed in 2001, not only did it warrant my retirement from the active practice of obstetrics and gynecology, it also came with the prognosis that I would be an invalid in a wheelchair. Well, I decided to do everything in my power to stay out of a wheelchair. So I discovered yoga and I created all my own exercises and exercise programs. In essence, I set out to turn my negatives into positives. It's the same thing I'm trying to help you do with your menopause. And while I certainly still have severe arthritis, I'm an enigma to the entire medical profession. That's because my x-rays are absolutely horrific, but I can function and do yoga in ways that are impossible for most people without arthritis. With regard to my arms, most women assume that I lift really heavy weights. I do not. Part of my arthritic exercise plan is to lift only baby weights. I just incorporate balance and flexibility into every exercise I do. So all my exercise involves no impact, very slow speed, and very light weights, but with the added components of balance and flexibility. So, I guess that's about it for the most common questions. The reason I don't use my YouTube channel to tell you all about me is because I'm merely your teacher. I'm not famous or anything like that. And other than teaching people how to do surgery, this is really my first foray into teaching. Plus, I'm an introvert. I would find it completely creepy to tell you all about my life or walk around the house with a camera to show you where I live, or use social media to tell you what I'm doing on a daily basis. I don't even use social media. I mean, of course I have social media, and I'm on social media. But confession, I have never actually been to any social media platform. I find the very idea of it mortifying. I have a wonderful social media team that posts everything for me. Of course, I do provide all the written content. I do so as part of the materials that I make to accompany each video ages in advance. For each video, I create 3 social media posts, a tip, a misconception, and a did you know piece. And then I either find or create a quote. So my social media team has all sorts of material. Then I do regular photo shoots with my photographer. We take some photos and we make some reels. And all of that goes to my social media team. But I never see any of it after that. Quite often someone will say to me, "Your Instagram posts are so good." To which I look at them like a deer in the headlights and I say, "Thank you," and then I give credit to my social media team. So my confession is that I've never spent any time whatsoever on any social media anything. Instead, I spend time in my head creating this education for you and on my passions, which include studying, reading, playing the piano, singing in symphony orchestra choirs, practicing yoga, working out, sewing, and playing board games, my favorite of which is Scrabble. So like I said at the very beginning of this video, I'm boring. And now that I've bored you for far too long, I'll see you next week to resume the good stuff, your menopause education. We will begin a unit on cancer in general, and it's going to set the stage for the subsequent units on uterine cancer, cervical cancer, breast cancer, and ovarian cancer. Having already shot all the videos for all of those units, I can tell you that you absolutely need to be absolutely sure that you absolutely watch all my videos in order. You know that you can schedule a consultation with me at Menopause Taylor at any time, which is a shortcut for whatever you need. I'll be absolutely delighted to meet you, and what you get in a consultation will serve you well for the rest of your life. Subscribe right here to my channel and to my newsletter, and follow me on all those social media channels, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest and Stories and TikTok, whatever. Bye!